This is going to be part 23 of the Corneilous Houghtelin farm here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And this is going to be a construction update. Back in part 17, we showed you what was the beginnings of the construction of the new addition that will be here at the Battlefield B&B. And at that time, all there was the foundation being dug and some basic stud work. Here we are 2 months later, and the construction, I would say, is pretty much about halfway through. The foundation and the outer shell of the new addition to the Battlefield B&B, or the Corneilous Houghtelin farmhouse, is about done. It is probably here to open around November of 2014, and we want to take a quick look, like a quick tour of it, probably being one of the only times that we'll ever get to see it unfinished. And what it's going to consist of is a Victorian addition. It's going to look on the outside like a Victorian house. Up at the top is going to be a common room, and that room we do know is going to be called the Frank Furness room. And of course, Frank Furness, as you look back at the video where we did the 6th Pennsylvania, he was the Medal of Honor recipient in the 6th Pennsylvania Russia's Lancers. So that room will be definitely named in tribute to him. And then it's going to have 2 more sleeping areas down here. And we don't know the names of these rooms yet, prospective names that are being mauled, or Anna Houghtelin, which was the wife of Cornelius. Or I'm sure it could be something like the 5th United States Cavalry, or another regiment or person associated with the Corneilous Houghtelin farm. And as we progress that way, we'll let you know. But this is the inside shell, probably one of the only looks we'll ever have of it, because in a few months it'll be finished, and all this will be closed in. So the upstairs is going to be the common room, and the common room, of course, as I stated before, is going to be called the Frank Furness room. Now, of course, Frank Furness was the Medal of Honor recipient. He was also a famous Philadelphia architect, and Frank Furness had built some of the famous buildings in the city of Philadelphia, including the Philadelphia Zoo Archway. He designed fireplaces and mantels as well. And actually, the owners of the B&B have been able to procure one of the original Frank Furness fireplace mantels, and it's going to sit here in this fireplace. This room is basically going to be used where I do my history presentations, and in cooler or rainier, snowier months, it's actually going to be for doing weddings and receptions, where you can do them inside instead of outside. One of the neatest features, I think, is going to be the back porch. The back porch is going to be sort of a wraparound, rounded staircase that comes off on each side. So this is the beginnings of that right now. A first look at a new addition to the Corneilous Houghtelin farm, or we know today as the Battlefield B&B. This has been the Corneilous Houghtelin farm, part 23 here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Also known as the Corneilous Houghtelin farm, and it is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2014. And in about 20 minutes, I'll be giving my history presentation on the action that happened here on July 3rd, 1863. And I wanted to give everyone a look at what exactly happens here from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock during the history presentation. Of course, this is the main lobby of the home, and it's also the dining hall. And as you can see, they have the tables all set for breakfast, and then whoever is staying in whatever room has their name at the table, so everybody has their own seat. And the presentation itself is done, it takes about an hour, and it's done here in the lobby here along the couches. And what they usually do is they set up a sign letting the guests know who's giving the presentation, who's the chef giving the breakfast, and the weather forecast. And over 1 hour time, I will come in here with a map that I've drawn on the action that happened here on July 3rd, 1863, which I keep over here, and explain that Pickett's charge was not the final action here at Gettysburg. I'll talk about the Corneilous Houghtelin family, the action that happened here on the farm, and a little bit about the farmstead, and then also the rooms and the secrets that they hold. So anytime you're in Gettysburg staying, look up the Battlefield B&B, get a hold of Florence and ask to stay. And if you do end up staying here, request me as your history presenter, and she'll give me a call, and I'll come in and do the history show. This has been the history presentation at the Battlefield B&B. Farm. This is going to be the Corneilous Houghtelin Farm, part 25 here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook, and we're going to take a look at the tack room today. Now, the tack room in a barn was a room where you would hang things like your saddle and your boots. And of course, this barn from 1820 had its own tack room. Of course, this barn, as we talked about in an earlier video, was part of a field hospital. It was used for Brigadier General Wesley Merritt's brigade on the evening of July 3rd, 1863 into July 4th of 1863. Now, today the barn primarily serves the guests of the Battlefield B&B as a place where they can hold private parties and even weddings inside of the barn. And one of the neat things about this barn is when a couple does get married, the honeymoon suite is in the tack room, which is here on the barn. Now, you can see the outside door has the old style doors, but when you open them up, there's a modern door that leads into the original tack room. And the tack room has been beautifully restored. So it has a lot of the original items, such as the beams on the ceiling, even some of the original foundation rock. And it also has the pegs that you would have hung your saddles and your boots upon. However, it's also been beautifully restored with modern amenities like high-definition television, internet, beautiful veneer floors, and a nice modern-looking bed. So you get a little bit of the mixture of the old and the new. So when people get married in the barn, they can actually come down here to the honeymoon suite, and it's got nice, candled lamps, decor, and again, a little bit of the old and the new mixed together give this place a romantic yet a modern feel to it. Here's the bathroom in here, and it's got its own jacuzzi spa. It's a very large bathroom with a lot of mirrors. Shower. And this again is the tack room. This would have been Corneilous Houghtelin's barn, built in the year 1820. We do know this because the 1821 tax records show that Cornelius's property taxes were up. One of the other neat things about this room is that when you wake up in the morning from bed and you have your morning coffee, you can simply walk out to your back porch here and right out to the farm where you have the cows, the horses, the goats, and the roosters. So you can sit out here on your patio, have your morning coffee, and watch the animals here. And of course, this downstairs level of the barn is where on July 3rd, July 4th, and part of the day on July 5th, the wounded who had been operated on in the barn were brought down here, along with the dead of Merritt's brigade as well. So this is a real Civil War field hospital. It is still a Civil War farm, and today is still operated as a farm with animals, just as it was in 1863. It has a beautiful scenic view all the way around. And of course, today's video is on the tack room of the Corneilous Houghtelin farm. This has been the Corneilous Houghtelin Farm, Part 25, The Tack Room, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.